You don't have to hunt hard for a decent bit of scenery in the Yukon. Throw your hat up in the air and there's every chance that it's going to land on a beauty spot, which makes you think, if it's this good near sea level, what's it like with a bit more altitude? Well, one place to find out is Killarney National Park, home to Canada's highest mountains and some immense ice fields.
What would make this park so impressive is the sheer size of it. When we fly out there, you see one mountain, which you think is staggering, it's huge, and then you fly around the corner and you see a whole line of them. And it's just the sheer overwhelming size in all directions.
So in those kind of blue lakes, you can see the little icebergs. Yes, yep, tiny little icebergs. That's there on top of the glacier. Yeah. The glacier continues down in front of us here. And so it's still moving down the mountain, carving its way through. Yes, it is. Yep, definitely moving down there. That's just like a frozen river, much more slowly.
This area here has been massively sculptured by the glaciers. Pretty much all the valleys we see as we fly up through the Killarney Park here has been all sculptured and dug out by the glacial movement. All the rivers are completely controlled, their directions, by glaciers. So lakes have formed and gone, rivers have been diverted, valleys formed, the whole lot. And when you get down close to the crevasses and the glaciers, you really see how deep they are. You kind of realise you could put your house inside it, plus the neighbours, and there'd still be room inside some of these crevasses there.
Swapping air for water now, and next on the agenda is Kathleen Lake, also in Killarney National Park. I'm here with Ron Chambers, a guide who has a proud First Nations ancestry, and we're off to find where his relatives used to live. So Ron, what we have here is a somewhat dilapidated cabin in the middle of a wood, but for you this has got quite a lot of family significance. Tell me what we have here.
Well, this cabin here was originally built by my grandmother and grandfather back in probably the early 40s or late 30s as a trapping cabin. And the trapping season is basically in the winter time. That's when the furs are prime on the animals. So it would have been a winter type cabin. It could be down to minus 40s even.
And are tourists, when they come here, are they particularly interested in the First Nations story? Do you think that's something that drives people to the region?
The stories of the First Nations is one of the big reasons why people come here now. In the past, people kind of came here just to see animals and stuff. My tour, for example, is I've got cultural, historical, and then at the bottom I have wildlife. That's third to me. And people who I've had on my tours have all said that they really appreciate the cultural part, and that's important. Extremely important.
But if animals are your thing, then maybe you should swap the boat for a bus and head to the Yukon Wildlife Preserve, which is full of animals that are native to the area. Okay, Nicole, what are we looking at the moment?
At the moment we're looking at the wood bison. So these are bison that were native to the Yukon, but they've been extinct for over 200 years. So they've just reintroduced to the Yukon. So we have about 1,400 bison in the Yukon now.
And there's a little calf over there as well that they seem to be kind of just nudging around with their head. What's going on?
So that little calf was just born just hours ago. And they're just trying to get it to stand up. That's just what the bison do when a new baby's born. Everybody comes to greet it and try to encourage it.
And how important is it that you have calves born here and that you care for them and they have a next generation? How important is that for your work?
Well, very important. I mean, the wood bison actually in Canada are considered a threatened species. So not here in the Yukon, but other parts of North America.
Now, although you might see this kind of thing every day if you're from these parts, there's no doubt that the sight of a massive elk polishing off its lunch or a muskox getting down and dirty does seem pretty exotic when you're more used to squirrels and badgers.
When visitors come to the Yukon, I think often they find it difficult to find the wildlife. We have so much wild space that the animals aren't necessarily right on the side of the road where you want them to be. So for those photographers and wildlife enthusiasts, the Wildlife Preserve is an awesome spot to come get up close, personal with wildlife, great photographs, see animals in their natural setting, and support a really great cause. We're a non-profit organization, so entrance fees go to caring and looking after the animals.
The Yukon is a truly awesome place. Not only is it twice the size of Britain, but only 35,000 people live here. That means if the entire population were to decamp to Wembley Stadium, they'd be able to have 2 seats each and still a bit more room to stretch their legs. But why stretch your legs anywhere else when there's so much to explore over here?